Hey guys, it's your boy Serrano here, and today I'm here to talk about the differences between a big smartphone and a small smartphone, and some of the advantages to both, and why some consumers would prefer to have the smaller phone in their hand, and why some consumers would prefer the bigger phone in their hand. As you can see, I have a group of phones here from small all the way to the biggest phone. Um, so as you could see, um, smartphones have evolved through time. They keep changing. They keep, getting better and better, and that's part of technology. Technology is man-made, and it's something that's always going to develop because people are always developing as well, and it keeps getting better, just like we are. And I'm not sure what are some of the things that would make you choose a big smartphone over a small smartphone, but today Um, I've composed a list of things that some of the reasons why someone would prefer to have a 5.5-inch phone over a 4.2 or a 4.7-inch phone. Um, as for me, I started with the flip phone from Verizon. I actually started using smartphones not until I was in college. My first year in college, I had a prepaid um, smartphone. I was going to school to play football, and I wasn't a big tech guy at all. I was definitely into computers though. I love computers. I love laptops, desktops. My first job, I was working as a computer lab assistant, and I was in charge of networking the computers and stuff like that. Um, and ever since then, one of my friends convinced me, hey, like, why are you using a prepaid phone? Technology is changing, everything's getting better. And I was so far behind at that point, but it took me a while to catch up. And today I want to show you one of my first devices. As you could see, I have the Verizon phone, flip phone. This was this was back in 2007 while I was working at Victoria's Secret. I remember I got this phone right on my lunch break, and it was from Verizon, and this phone offered videos. You could see like the Texas pop up here. It offered videos so you could watch your TV and content here. And it was one of the first phones that offered multimedia inside of your phone, as far as videos and pictures and stuff like that. As you could see, it still has the old school keyboard with no letters on it, just straight numbers. And if you wanted to get to the B, you'd have to press it twice. If you wanted to get to the N, you'd have to press that twice. If you wanted to get to the S, you'd have to press it 4 times. So just imagine what it was like before the actual smartphone, and we just were stuck with these flip phones. Um, Shortly after that, um, I did get my second smart device right here from Verizon. As you can see, I have the Moto Q. Now, this phone was probably my favorite phone of all time. This phone came with a 1.3 megapixels in the back with some specs here, 6 times the zoom. The multimedia on this phone was amazing. I remember watching videos on this small little screen, and I was able to type on this little keyboard down here. And I remember people coming up to me and saying, "Is that the iPhone?" Like every single day. Because this phone was one of the innovators of smartphone technology, and it's really small. It's like 4 inches in my hand, but I remember back then this thing felt huge. and now it's in this little beat up case, this gel case, and I could probably still power it on, but I haven't turned this thing on for ages. After that, I remember I switched to LG, and I got me the Optimus V by, I think this was the Optimus V by LG Virgin Mobile. This phone was amazing as well. It could, I remember I was able to watch videos, make calls. I began to text more, so I needed a phone that had the touch screen, and I put a little screen protector on here as well. Um, I always had cases on my phones because I was always a clumsy person, and I was, prone to having this phone drop. This phone actually has 3.2 megapixels in the camera on the back of it. And can you believe we're now up to phones with 21 megapixels in them and even further? So I remember this phone being amazing. I remember how small it was and how much I was able to do. Look how small this phone is, guys. Compared to a phone like this, it just doesn't even look like you use it for the same thing, right? Well, they are used for the same exact thing. A lot of people prefer the small 4-inch phones, and a lot of people prefer the big screen 6-inch phones like I do. Um, Through time, the use of what you needed your phone for evolved. For me, I was a big content user. I always remember I wanted to get the latest videos on my phone. After I got the Optimus V, there came the Optimus V Elite, which was supposed to be better than its predecessor. But I actually think that this Optimus V was a better phone than this one, because this one lagged like crazy and this one was super smooth, and this was supposed to be the updated version. Yeah, so my needs began to change. um I started reading books on my phone and ebooks and stuff like that, and I remember being on the train reading little PDFs through this device. And people who like to read on the train, you need a lot of luxury to look at on the screen, and as you can see, this is only 4 inches. Um, when you have a phone that's 6 inches, or 5.5 inches long, that gives you the ability to have more luxury and space, and it makes it more comfortable experience when doing the task that you need. Um, in addition, yeah, so in addition to that, um, the need changes. People's needs for the phone tend to change. So, for me, I wanted my phone to last longer. I wanted to have more screen to look at, more luxury on the screen, and I just wanted more features, and I wanted to basically make this like a good experience as far as entertainment. So the bigger the screen, the better the experience for me. And also just the reason I also like the bigger screen is for texting and having the ability to you know be able to touch the right key easier and faster, whereas these small little keys are a little hard to touch. And on a screen like this, you can only imagine how big the keyboard will be. Um, Again, I have some notes that I created. I asked some friends and people that I knew some of the things that were the advantages and disadvantages of a small screen. So these are all the advantages. On left is the big screen, and the right is the small. So for a big screen, one of the advantages is it's good for media. It's good for games. It's good for movies. And for me, I could use a big screen with one hand. I'm able to use any one of my 6-inch devices with one hand. Now, a lot of people complain that they have small hands and they can't hold the phone all the way in their hand. So if that's one of the things to consider when you're purchasing a phone, um, you're gonna if you're gonna have to hold the phone with two hands or one hand, that changes the experience for the user. So it's easy to hold for people who prefer the smaller phone. It's easier to manage. Let's say you're gonna take a photo of someone. You could just grab the phone with one hand out of your pocket. It's gonna fit easier in your pocket, and you're not gonna notice it's there as much. Whereas for me, I don't really care about how big the pocket space will take up. My 6-inch devices have always been able to fit in my jeans because I've never wore skinny pants or skinny jeans in my life. I tried to go into that fad and it just never worked out. I remember I went to Marshall's and I picked up a pair of skinny jeans, and within 4 hours the entire like inside of the crotch had ripped, and I guess I had picked the wrong size, but I never bought a pair after that. All right, so the big hands, small hands, you got to remember the media is a big thing. If you're choosing a phone of bigger size or smaller, shorter battery life. Well, that's something that they've been working on with the smaller phones. In the past, smaller phones have had smaller battery life, but now with the optimization of software and the way technology is, phones have been having increased battery life with smaller screens. But when the battery of the phone is big, it does tend to last longer, but this is not always the case. So gaming is another reason why I prefer a big screen. I want to be able to download apps from that Play Store and be able to play some of the games almost like I was playing with a Sega. Um, Remember the Game Boy, the Sega Dream. What was the handheld Sega game? I think it was Game Gear or something. Or they also had what's this game called right here? I'm about to show you guys because I can't remember the name of it. But handheld games like the PS, what is it, the PSP? Maybe you're a big gamer and you want a screen that reminds you of something like this PSP that I used to play with. I remember I used to travel with this, and this used to be like one of the reasons why I was into gaming is because I could just travel and bring a load of games, but then you needed to open up the cartridge and you had to carry the games with you and stuff like that. Well, with these big smartphones, all you have to do is download the app, and it's a similar experience to having this game console. Now they have games that look like console games, so that's pretty interesting. I pointed out here that the iPhone 6s is a 4.7-inch screen phone, and the iPhone 6S Plus is a 5.5 screen. Now, with those two phones, you're getting a huge difference in screen size, but it's been tested that the bigger phone has the better battery life in this scenario. Okay. Um, so some of the other reasons why a bigger phone would be more ideal is you could fill in Excel sheets better and easier, more efficiently. Let's say you mix music, you could do that easier. If you sketch on your phone with the stylo pen like that, that gives you the ability to actually sketch on your phone. And that's one of the reasons why I got this phone, is so that I could sketch and I could enjoy the big luxuries of the phone right there and the screen that it offers to me. Um, Taking pictures, um, it gives you more space and you know, surface area to work with, so you could see more of the person or the thing you're taking a picture of, as well as editing vids and pics. Um, it's quite easy to see that texting would be easier and faster on a on a bigger device because the keys are bigger, but that is also dependent on the hardware of your phone as well. Some phones are more responsive than others. So better hardware compared to small phones. This is just a list of some of the things that I seen when I'm dealing with a bigger phone. I just prefer to have it bigger. Um, so compared to small phones, um, the past ones with let's see, better hardware and more efficient clock speeds, higher clock speeds, better hardware. Gaming and sounds tends to be better with a higher resolution as well. Again, they're also making phones that are smaller with all these packed in features, and I'll be able to show you some of those examples in just a moment. But I'm almost done here. Um, Pocket ability. One-handed use is one of the advantages to having a smaller phone, and the pocket availability. You can fit that easier inside of your pocket. It's lighter, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So if you have a big phone, as you could see, I cracked this screen right here on the bottom. I don't know if that's visible. Um, I have another screen phone right here where I cracked the screen right here while I was on my rollerblades, and I was doing a trick, and next thing you know, the phone comes flying out of my pocket, hitting the pavement full speed. Um, so yes, bigger phones do have more of they're more accident prone. They're more tend to drops. They're more tend to cracks and breaks. I can't tell you how many big screen phones I've seen on the train, in people's hands where the screen was mutilated, and I was impressed on how they were still typing with it because the jagged glass looked like it was cutting their fingers, and they were still able to manipulate the device. But for me, anytime I would get a crack, I would just buy a new phone. And that's why I have so many phones, is because I'm always breaking them. But now I've also invested in screen protectors and cases. So all of my new phones I've been taking good care of now, and as you could see, they're very pristine and plush, and they're very, I take really good care of my devices. They all have cases now. So bigger means more powerful, but it also means it's tend to have more drops. Here you can see I listed the Axon 7 Mini, the Samsung 7S, which are two small phones that function just as good as a large screen phone. You could also check out the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, which came out several years ago, which is still a pretty powerful device when you rank it up next to some of the devices in the mid-range category today as well. Um, I also have some other sources where I did some research on just out of general interest. I wanted to know what were some of the things that other people that swayed other people to get big phones, and what swayed them to get small phones. Um, well, here's another reason um, why smaller phones are ideal. They can be easily carried everywhere. They're lightweight, they're portable, and they're hard to be noticed by passers by, by by passers-by, whatever. Yeah, that looks like a weird word. The shooting is a breeze. The camera shooting is a breeze as well. Those are some of the things that other people had noticed. The portability can easily sway people. The lightweight nature of the phone. It's compact. It's small. You could carry it around. Huge documents back and forth for students that they don't have to rely on carrying a load of laptops and stuff like that and huge textbooks. Um, and the passerby reason, it's thanks to the compact size, these types of smartphones are harder to notice by people around you, and it's safer. And it's, the smaller the phone is, the easier it is to handle. As for me, I have big hands, so it's not really that big of a deal. Now I want to go through some of the advantages that you might encounter when you have a big screen. Um, I'll pull up another source here that I did some research on, and here you could see in this article, it talks about you could read more and do more on the smartphone, whether you're browsing the web or delving into an ebook. This means broader overview of your social feeds, less scrolling when you read long articles. So you don't have to like scroll your screen as much because the screen is bigger, so it takes up less space. Multiple apps could be accessed side by side at the same time, allowing you for increased predictability. Also, with the LG Stylo 2, the 2 Plus, they give you the ability here to have a split screen option. I haven't used that in so long, so I barely know how it works. But if you click that dual window option, you could click like two apps, and look, it just lets you take advantage of the screen space. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you like to multitask, this would be a luxury. Right here, you could change the size of the screen. On 7.0 Nougat, all the phones will be preloaded with this feature. So that's pretty cool. Can't wait for that to come to the Stylo 2 Plus, even though this is one of the first phones to come out with that feature without the Nougat. Um, so yeah, side by side apps. Finally, bigger screens, subsequently bigger text, decrease eye strain, which creates a more comfortable user experience. Mobile phones are bigger, with bigger screens, are often equipped with a pen like the Note S Pen. As you could see, I like phones with pens. This phone is just like the Note 7 or the Note 4 with the S Pen. It has that pen feature where you could manipulate stuff on the screen just like that. And I love to have that pen feature with a lot of my phones. I was actually obsessed with phones with big screens and pens. So as you could see, I have two pens here, and I have two big screen phones with pens. I'm also obsessed with the pixel on the screen and how it looks. This phone here is 720 as well as my Stylo 2 Plus, but I just purchased a phone that had a 2K resolution. It was the Note 4, and then after that, the PPTV King 7S, which is 3D and 2K resolution on the screen. So display might be your thing, just like me. You might want to look at a beautiful screen and be like wowed every time you look at it. more realistic games, easier to control buttons on the smartphone, and this is important when you go. You could access television stuff, your favorite television shows, and you have a better viewing experience. Also, filming videos is something that they say is better when when you have a smartphone, because video, no other media, it's easier to edit and drag across the screen with your finger. It makes better videos can be created just by anyone. Um, I'm sorry, I got a cold, so I'm over here sniffling inside the microphone, so I do apologize for that. I'll probably just have to blow my nose. Okay. And the next article I want to talk about is some of the best big screen phones that you can get in 2017, but this list derives of phones from 16 and 17, from the 241 category all the way to the $1,000 category. Right here they have the Google Pixel XL, which is rated pretty much 4 stars, which means it's perfect. As you can see, the price range, the PPI is 534 PPI, which means that the screen is absolutely amazing and to die for. The price is absolutely terrible, but the applications, ease of use, performance, and call quality, and the camera and battery life and display are some of the key features on this phone. If you jump all the way down to the Samsung 7S, the Samsung S7 and the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, as well as the HTC and the LG G5 and the V20, are some of the phones that they listed here in the hierarchy of smartphones with big screen phones. I'm gonna keep going through some more phones here, which are amazing as well. And I'll do one more screen for you guys to look at. There's last year's version of the LG V20. Then they just keep getting older, but here you guys can see that they're pretty much taking the big screen phone and they're rating it in comparison to some of the specs and other features that one of the user is attracted to. In addition to that, I've also composed a list of some small screen smartphones that I would recommend to you. So this list is composed by David. He says here 5 best smartphones to use. So here you could see I'm not quite sure if I agree with this list, but I made a list of my own. So inside that list, I would definitely include the 5.2 inch the S7 from Samsung. My brother has that phone. It's tiny, and I was telling him, why did you get that phone? It's you could get a bigger screen and stuff, but he doesn't care about that. He's one of the people that the size doesn't matter, and he doesn't mind the smaller screen. So that would be one of the phones I would recommend, the Samsung S7 or the Samsung S6, which are really, you could get the small version, and the PPI is like amazing. It has like 534 pixels per inch on that screen. It's quad HD, and it has I believe like a Snapdragon inside of it, which makes gaming flawless. The Axon 7 Mini is another beast of a small phone. As you know, the Axon 7 is the bigger variant, and they've made a smaller variant to go alongside it, to the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 7 Plus and the iPhone 7 Plus, and they've accommodated to the big and the small, as you know, the bigger being the 7 Plus and the smaller being the 7S or whatever they call it. I also wrote Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, which is one of the first phones to be, um, have such great features in it. This is like one of the original ones, it looks like, but um, they have also listed that here as well. And these phones, sometimes they have like they'll make the phone and add a different, they'll put a 2 or a 3, and it's just the newer phone. So this is probably you know, I'm not sure where this falls in comparison to the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, but it's on this list here for this Dave's favorite phones. Let's see one of his reasonings behind it. Customers found refreshing once again comfortably operate a smartphone with just one hand and still be productive, as they were using a much larger device. In this article, we're taking a look at this Galaxy S Mini to see how it holds up in 2017, because we'd like you to give your opinion. Okay, so this phone is like a 4.6. Really small. I would never mess with a phone that small, but look at the camera. The camera has 23 MPs, which makes it second to none. It has a Snapdragon 650, which makes a great game experience, easy to hold, excellent battery life. And if that is something that is appealing to you, then I would definitely recommend the smaller screen. If you like big screens and you have big hands, then you're just like me. You're gonna need something that's bigger and a little bit wider and a little bit taller, so you could have some luxury on the screen to work with. Now, I thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you were able to see some of the key differences between big and smartphones, and definitely gonna be talking to you guys on the next video. Please like it down below and subscribe as well to my channel, so you could check out more interesting, informative tech videos just like this one. In the meantime, have a great night, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.